Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to iTouch App Reviewers. In this video, I'm going to be doing another viewer request, basically the differences between the 21.5 inch iMac and the 27 inch, basically which one to get. So if we just do a high level overview here, I've got the 21 inch here and the 27 inch here. You guys can see this base model. I don't fully recommend this one because there's a lot of things you need to change and that kind of bumps up the price. And at that point, you should just be getting the middle grade one. But let's just look at it real quick. 8 gigs of RAM, that's pretty low. 16 gigs is probably good. 256 gig SSD, that's what I would get, but that's pretty small to be honest. And then you're up at $1,500. So, and you don't even have a 4K screen. So let's kind of discount that one real quick. If you want a budget one, those are your options right there. You can go check that out. But let's look at the other ones here. So we've both got Retina 4K displays on these, and on the 27 inch, we've got 5K displays. As you can see, processors go up, storage goes up, price goes up. Now, if you're kind of juggling between, a 21 inch screen and a 27 inch, that's personal preference. All of these iMacs, in my opinion, have too big of a bezel. I would not buy one of these in today's market with this bezel. That turns me off completely from these. Now, again, this is personal preference. I know a lot of you guys might actually really like the look of it, but I just can't stand these bezels. So I got to say that. I know no other reviewer is going to really say that off the bat because they want to make Apple look great. I don't really care what Apple looks like. I think this doesn't look that good. But let's just select this one here and let's select a mid-grade one here. Most of the differences here is storage and the processor and price. But let's select this mid-grade one here and we're going to kind of compare. So this is $12.99. And we got a 3 gigahertz 7th gen i5 processor, pretty decent processor right there. You can upgrade it if you want, but I would do the 16 gigs RAM and I would do the 512. And then we're at $18.99. Not terrible by any means, but if you want to bump it up to the 27 inch, then we're looking at a little bit more money. But this comes with a 5K display, which is going to look a little better. And it's got a 3.5 gigahertz quad core 7th gen i5 with better turbo boosting than the other. So if we spec this one out similarly, we are looking at $24.99. So that's pretty expensive. So the difference, at least, between the two. You want something that's got a 21.5 inch screen or a 27 inch screen. That's for you to decide. Again, also factor in things like your room, your desk, how you're going to have it set up. If we max this out, let's just take a look at this one here. So in theory, we could get a 4.2 gigahertz quad core 7th gen i7 if we wanted. Comes with the i5. Let's do 16 gigs. This one you can really spec it out and make it nice. This is probably the one, if you're gonna go all out, this is probably the one to get. You might not need this, honestly, but for only $200, it really depends on your budget. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference, to be honest, but thermal throttling might get you a little bit there. So this might be the sweet spot right here. As for these, if I had to pick one, of course, if I had to pick a 21.5 inch iMac, I would pick this one, and I'll show you guys how I would spec it, just so you guys don't make any mistakes here. 3.4 gigahertz turbo boost up to 3.8. That's not bad at all. I would do at least 16 gigs of RAM. So this is if I was going to build this for someone else, like a friend or someone that doesn't necessarily do 4K editing all the time. This is probably how I would do it. Yeah, you can pick and choose 256 or 512. It's $200 difference. And then the 27 inch, if I had to pick one, it's a tough choice between these two. The processors are not too terribly different actually, but I'd probably go with this one because it's a little cheaper, especially if I was going to recommend this to someone. This is probably the spec I would give them, either 512 or 256 depending on their needs. So that's kind of where I would go with this. Now the iMac, I mean, it's hard for me to help you guys choose between sizes because that's personal preference and depends on your budget, but I don't think you can go too wrong with any of these processors. Again, if you want something baseline for normal stuff, maybe a couple videos here and there, some 4K editing, it'll do just fine. Because again, these are the quad core processors, so these should be all right for that. Now, if you want to go all out, of course, you should bump it up to the i7s if you have the budget. And if you really, really want to do a lot of hardcore stuff, just get the iMac Pro and that'll pretty much solve all your problems. So hopefully this helped you guys kind of run through some of the specs of these things. And it really comes down to your personal preference, your budget, and how big of a screen you want, because that's the biggest differentiator here. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit it with a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.